Well, I needed to clean some things out of my fridge. We're gonna make some compost tea with them. So what's up guys, Mr. Green Jeans here. Today I'm gonna make some compost tea for you. While this bucket fills up some, I'm gonna explain the basic needs of plants. All plants need NPK. It's the 3 numbers on most fertilizers: the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The nitrogen helps the plants grow green and vigor and new growth. They're what they need early on in the growing season. The phosphorus helps the plants grow big roots. Your tuber plants like potatoes and garlic need them more and tend to like them more. And your potassium helps set fruit and helps grow more fruit and better flowers. And that's the basic needs of every plant. So when I make my compost tea, the first thing I start off with is some worm castings from my composter. I'm almost out of fertilizer, so we're gonna use a little bit of this Microlife Citrus and Fruit. It's a 624, and it has 2 different fungi and a rhizome microorganism. Going to put some of this in. And this is the last of my garden tome. I'm gonna put a good heaping handful. Might get a handful and a half. Now we're gonna go with the fridge. I had some applesauce left over. Some strawberry cake. We're going to go with a fish I forgot to eat. Some egg drop soup. Ooh, that chicken Alfredo is right. I went on vacation and I forgot this in the fridge. People never say put milk and proteins in your compost. I don't know why. They're nothing but culture. So we're gonna go with some old sour cream and 2 yogurts that got hot in my lunch. I didn't want to eat them. Get some more bacteria in there. And as you can saw, I never finish completely dumping out my bucket, and I use the same bucket. As you see all the algae, and there's all kind of microorganisms living on the side of the bucket. Rinse off the side of the bucket a little. Now the very first time I fill this up, when it's empty, I always use my rainwater. But as I empty my jug, I like to use the water hose, and I will put my head sprayer on there. That way I can use the spray function and I oxygenate the water. That's how I keep the compost good. I constantly use it, I'm constantly oxygenating it. If you don't keep it oxygenated, it will sour, especially in our Texas heat. I keep mine in the shade. You at least need to oxygenate it and be using it. What kind of gardener are you if you're not using your compost? You at least need to aerate it at least once or twice. You at least need to aerate it once every week or two. I never let mine go more than 2 weeks. Aerating it is the secret to keeping the compost tea good and not letting it go rancid. We'll see how long this takes to sit. I'll at least let it sit 3 days. Sometimes it's gonna take a week. As y'all saw, I put a fish and sour cream and all kinds of things in there, the cake. Some of that stuff takes a little bit longer to break down, but you'll know when it's broken down. Everything's gonna dissolve. We'll just fill this up. And a lot of times I'll stand here and do like this when I fill it up, get that oxygen in the water. I don't know if that white stuff is the cream cheese or some perlite from my soil, but I'll be able to tell in a few days. I'll show y'all in 3 days. Everything should be dissolved. A lot of the soil should sink to the bottom. The only thing I'm not adding this time is a lot of times I'll add weeds, a lot of green leafy material. I do that in the spring a lot, and I'll just let the weeds sit like you see most people do in their compost tea. But that's a much stronger nitrogen rich tea, and the nitrogen, like I said, helps your plants grow greener and bigger, and in the spring that's something you want. I'm in the middle of summer right now. I'm trying to go for a more phosphorus and potassium rich tea. That's where I was going with the cakes and the other things. In fact, I think I'm going to add a pineapple to this. I have the pineapple from that video that I shot the other day. And I believe fruits add a lot of phosphorus to your compost teas and your compost. I don't know if you can see, but the water's gray right now. In 3 or 4 days, this water is going to be black. I'll give you an update in 3 or 4 days. I'll show you. All right, guys, I'm back with you. It's been about a week. The cream cheese and the yogurt and the bread took a little bit longer to break down than I expected. It's been a while since I've made a compost tea like this. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to go for a soil activator. I even added some Medina soil activator in here. So I was trying to go for that bio-rich compost tea and not just feed my plants. So it took a little bit longer for that to break down. But if you could smell this thing, she is ready. She smells nasty. I am ready to empty this out and start a new batch. So that's the best way I judge them, is by how bad they stink. Always mix it up before you go to use it. You want to get that good soil, and a lot of the fertilizer sinks to the bottom. As you can see, when you stir it, she gets more brown. And I come and I have stirred this every other day to try to keep the oxygen going. I will come in and do this number to try to keep it oxygenated. That's the secret to the letting your compost tea sit out so long. You just don't want it to go rancid. You want to keep adding water, keep it moving. You got to use it. If you don't use it, it goes bad. But just keep it oxygenated, keep it topped off. She'll be good to go. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Catch you on the next one. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, and God bless. All right, guys, just to reiterate some few things. So basically, it's very easy. Compost tea equals compost bin. Same thing. If it goes in your compost bin, it can go in your compost tea. That's how I look at it. If it's green, it's nitrogen. If it's brown, it's potassium and phosphorus. I believe that the fruits and the meats, a lot of people say don't add meats, but I believe fruits and meats add phosphorus, so they help your flowers fruit, and I believe they break down the phosphorus, and I believe the things cultures, I believe cultures are bacteria. They're bacteria, bread's bacteria, yogurt's bacteria, so when you add them to the water, you're just breeding the bacteria. So like I said, this batch I'm making is a soil activator batch. Wasn't too worried about the nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus breakdown of the compost tea. Now when I come spring, I'm definitely gonna make one, add a lot of weeds, a lot of green material to boost that nitrogen. And as you saw, when I top the compost off, I like to use my water hose. I've already brewed my tea. When I brew it and let it stew, I like to use my rain collector, all good water, but I don't have pressure on that, so I like to use my water hose when I fill her up, so that way I can get that good oxygen in her. Maybe one day I'll have a little oxygen stone in there, but for now that's how I fill her up. And make sure you stir her every so often. I stir her at least every other day. That's the secret to making sure she doesn't go rancid. Keep her oxygenated and keep her going. You got to be gardening, you got to be feeding your plants. Good day and God bless.